Welcome back to Jedi Jive, everybody. We are going to do a reaction to Loki, and look who's back. Jenny's back, yay! Everybody's been asking for Jenny, and everybody's been asking for the hair to be let free.
Yeah,
so.
free the hair in honor of Tom Hiddleston and his heinous Loki hairdo. We're gonna free the hair today.
So yeah, dude, I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad I'm back
Stoked.
too.
This has been a Star Wars centered channel since I started it, but Jenny's all about Marvel, and since we've got some Marvel content, Jenny's back, and we're excited. Anyway, this year started off with WandaVision. We were automatically kind of excited for it because we hadn't had Marvel in a while. And then WandaVision ended up being really interesting. We loved it. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier came, and that was kind of crept up on us too because, you know, we were anticipating
that was a sleeper, but it kicked things up a notch in terms of stakes and, you know, relatability.
We ended up loving it too. And the interesting thing is that before all of this, like, Loki would have been the character that I would have been most interested in, or what I would have anticipated having the most interesting show. And I loved both WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So now that Loki is here,
you know, we've seen some trailers that have gotten us super hyped. The reviewers who have seen advanced episodes are all losing their minds online. So there's definitely enough hype to have us really excited right now. But the first two shows have been so completely different in their own ways, and I'm sure this is going to be a completely new thing again.
They each had their own theme, right? Like WandaVision had a lot about grief, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier discussed a lot about, you know, race
and equity. Yeah.
But obviously Loki is gonna deal a lot with like time. Right?
Yeah,
and,
I think we can expect to see Loki sort of Forrest Gumping his way
around
history.
That sounds like an interesting way to describe it.
I think we're going to see him using his shapeshifter abilities probably more than we have in the films so far, I would imagine. From what I understand, there are actually a couple other actors who are already cast to play different versions of him as he shapeshifts. So they'll have a chance to...
Oh, no way. Cool. All right.
Yeah, so I think they're going to have a chance to explore that aspect of his character more. What I think is most interesting is that this is a 2012 version of Loki. If everyone remembers, this is a Loki who was present in the timeline that Captain America went back to while collecting all the Infinity Stones, and he managed to escape into the Tesseract.
Yep.
But this Loki has not experienced Ragnarok, has not experienced Infinity War. He has not met Hela. Has not seen his parents die.
This is all interesting points.
He has not given his life to help defeat Thanos, so he hasn't gone through any of that character development yet. This is still peak snarky god of mischief Loki, so this is a chance for him, I mean, to go through that character development again, but in a new way, and to evolve in a way that we haven't seen. So it's also a feast for Tom Hiddleston as an actor.
Nice.
So this is going to be really exciting.
Looks like there's going to be a lot of mind-bending concepts that they're going to throw our way too, just from the trailer.
I hope so.
Anyway, dude, I'm so excited. Let's get this done.
Let's have our minds bent. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All burned out, busted up, aftermath of the Battle of New York.
This is 2012.
Yeah, 2012. So this is the Time Variance Authority, the soldiers.
On behalf of the Time Variance Authority, I hereby arrest you for crimes against the sacred timeline.
And I think I've had my fill of idiots in armored suits telling me what to do, so if you don't mind, this is actually your last chance. Now get out of my way.
Nope.
Whoa! That's a neat trick.
You're now moving at 1/16th speed, but feeling all that pain in real time.
Oh!
Ooh, that is a neat trick. Gotta say, though, the banding and collaring and the vocabulary variant, that is some extremist zealotry. Reset the timeline. Look at this gorgeous sort of mid-century decor we've got here.
Yeah. It's right out of the 60s.
Yeah.
I like this officer. She's funny.
She's great. I love this actor, Wunmi Misako. She's awesome.
How do you know that?
She's an English actor who's in a lot of things. She's great.
Can you at least tell me what it is?
It's the Tesseract. Be very careful with it.
That's Eugene Cordero. He's like an improv guy in LA. Oh, that's adorable.
This is fine Asgardian leather. Now, hang on just a minute.
Just so you see how in shape Tom Hiddleston got for this.
Yeah.
Make sure you
Think
show
the
the
cat's a
abs right
flirkin?
away.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever
Definitely a
said.
flirkin.
Probably
What?
not. Hilarious.
Sign this too.
What?
Just a lot of bored bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Please confirm
Very like
to your knowledge that you are
1984.
not a fully robotic being. We're born an organic creature and do in fact possess what many cultures would call a soul.
Do a lot of people not know if they're robots?
Thank you for your confirmation. Please move through.
Yeah, I just realized TVA has TV in it
Of
in the same way
course.
that Wanda and
Had
Westview had TV.
Of
yeah,
course.
The machine would melt you from the inside out. Please move along.
Yeah.
This is such an indictment of bureaucracy, though. Like, all these bored people just doing these boring jobs, and he has no idea what's going on.
What's that?
Your temporal aura.
What's that?
Please through the door.
Temporal aura. Wow. I wonder if that'll come into play as an
Sounds
important
like something you
thing.
say when you're on LSD. I can see your temporal aura, man.
I'll trade you my shirt for a grilled cheese.
Look at the cute little, like...
There's only two
It's
of us
Miss
in.
Minutes.
This is a mistake. I shouldn't be here.
Hi there. You're probably saying, this is a mistake. I shouldn't even be here.
So it's Miss Minutes.
Yep.
It's like an actual mid-century
I'm Miss Minutes.
character.
Long ago,
Yikes.
there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy.
Okay.
Now, the timekeepers protect and preserve the proper flow of time for everyone and everything. People like you veer off the path the timekeepers created. We call those variants. Stepping off your path created a nexus event, which left unchecked could branch off into
Nexus.
Nexus.
The sacred timeline. Who actually believes this bunkum?
Ticket, sir.
Try to ask that guy for a ticket.
Sir?
You're raising your voice with me, Buckethead.
Mm-hmm. These people being told they're variants and have committed offenses haven't actually necessarily done anything.
Yeah.
EVA. Don't hesitate to let us know how we're doing.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that cartoon reminded me of like the I Dream of Jeannie bit in
Very much,
commercial
but it
and-
also makes me think of like Nazi propaganda, you know? And the fact that it was like a religious war to
Mhm.
begin with.
Yeah.
1549.
To a routine Nexus event.
Oh, look at this. There's a devil.
Uh-huh.
Mephisto.
Yeah. Mephisto confirmed.
Tu sais qui a fait ça?
Oui. Le diable.
Go ahead and run this for sequence period and any hints of temporal aura.
He said something like it was the 6th attack that week.
Yeah.
So some devil is wrecking havoc on the
The
timeline.
branch is nearing red line. We need to go.
Sir, there's something you'll want to see.
Loki Laufey-san.
Those portals are exactly like Time Bandits, like the way it
Yes.
just the door opens
Uh-huh.
up. Yeah.
100%.
Damn it! Why would it work?
Magic powers. They're no good in the TVA, Mr. Laufeyson. And I sentence you to be reset. Next case, please.
You have no idea what I'm capable of.
I think I might have an idea of what he's capable of.
Okay. He's gonna ask for Loki's help
Mm-hmm.
to get
With
this
the
devil,
devil.
character. Yeah.
Anything goes sideways, it's on you.
Wow.
This really is being played like a cop procedural, though. He's like that one guy,
Yep,
like,
yep.
you know, NCIS or whatever, like the one dude who's kind of a renegade
Yeah, yep,
at the
yep.
top of his team. Beautiful. Very Star Wars.
Looks more like the Jetsons from here.
Yeah, kind of. Well, 60s theme.
60s, yeah. Oh, shit.
This place is a nightmare.
That's another department. Now that department I'll help you burn down.
I love it.
How long have you been here? I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, time passes differently here in the TVA.
For the record, this really does feel like a killing me kind of a room.
I told you time moves differently in the TVA.
Very sort of sinister Matrix element to this. Like he just woke up in the real world, you know?
I specialize in the pursuit of dangerous variants.
Like myself.
No particularly dangerous variants. You're just a little pussycat. You're really good at doing awful things and then just getting away.
What can I say? I'm a mischievous scamp.
He's playing him like a violin. He knows when to stroke his ego and when to cut it
This is
down.
as you say when they're trying to do the quick exposition of like reminding the viewer.
Yeah, how we got here.
Quickly, yeah.
Miss,
Yes, Mr. Cooper.
you might want to take a look at that note.
Cooper! He's DB Cooper! This DB Cooper's a real guy who hijacked a plane and they've never figured out who he was. It's
Gotcha.
like the greatest unsolved mystery in like the American 20th century.
See you again someday.
Oh, that's
He said, "See you again
brilliant.
someday," and winked at her. I wonder if that means he'll actually go back to this moment at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you were
Brilliant.
DB Cooper. Come on.
I was young and I lost a bet to Thor. Also, that had the timekeeper's seal of approval, did it?
If you hadn't picked up the Tesseract, you would have been taken to a cell on Asgard.
He's going to show him scenes from the
actual
primary
timeline, yeah.
Loki, the stuff he's missed.
I'll never tell.
I don't believe you. You're lying. It's not true.
It is true. It happens again and again and again because it's supposed to, because it has to. You enjoy killing.
I'll kill you.
What, like you did your mother?
Low blow.
What are you doing?
My job. Is it yours to interrupt?
We have a situation. He should be reset.
You think everyone should be reset. I'm getting good
We
stuff in
just
there.
lost another unit.
Give me the Tesseract or I'll gut you like a fish, Casey.
What's a fish?
How do you not know what a fish is?
I lived my entire life behind a desk.
What? Infinity Stones?
Are you shitting me?
What?
A bunch of different ones.
How do you have these?
Oh, we actually got a lot of those. Some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Oh!
This is just a glimpse at how insignificant, like, every other adventure,
Look, those are all, he's holding a
everybody's
time stone.
timeline.
There's like 6 of them there.
Right?
That's
But, like, the
insane.
things that seem cosmically all-powerful
Yeah.
to us, or even to them, like how insignificant it is in the face of these great time gods. I think he finally is getting it now.
Yeah.
He sees that, too.
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you almost hit me. That's so messed up.
I love you, my sons. Remember this place.
He never,
He
never
didn't
lived
experience
this.
this.
Maybe you're not so bad after all, brother.
Oh my god, is he gonna look at his own death? Now he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go home. He wants to stay here where he's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being the god of space, he wants to be the god of the greatest power in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fucked up.
Even an infinity stone is useless here.
Hmm.
TVA is formidable.
I can't
offer you salvation, but maybe I can offer you something better.
A job.
Variant's been killing our Minutemen.
And you need the God of Mischief to help you stop them. Why me?
The variant we're hunting is you.
Plot twist!
Dude. Okay. Oh, okay. Gonna have to wrap our minds around this.
1858.
Time signature is early 3rd millennium. Definitely anachronistic. Wait! Someone's out there.
Creepy.
Dude, what?
Effective. Wow. Dark.
Jesus.
That's the reset the timeline thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's taken it, so they can't reset the timeline. He's wrecking havoc with the timeline.
All right, who is that?
Ooh. Well, presumably it's him. So that gave us so much.
That was like a perfect intro,
about.
like
Gosh,
setup
yes.
episode.
I thought they did such a good job of combining like really heavy duty exposition, like catching us up, bringing the story up to date, but keeping it active and making that sort of integral to the plot with a little bit of character introduction. They did really like the interrogation scene. You know, you said, "Oh, this is exposition. They're reminding us of what got us here." But I also found that a really effective scene. It really showed an interesting dynamic between the two characters. Like Owen Wilson, his character seems so calm and mild, but he was like efficiently breaking him.
Yeah.
You know, like pulling and pushing and stroking his ego just enough and then punching him in the gut. And
Yeah.
really like brought him to the edge of complete emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
Like artfully.
Which makes me like wonder and consider like that one, you know, desk worker guy was like, I lived my whole life behind a desk or whatever. And then Owen Wilson had mentioned like time works differently in here. Like, are we supposed to assume like Owen Wilson's been doing this for millennia?
Like, yeah,
like,
billions of years, like on a time scale we can't imagine.
Yeah, that's
you know, there's so much, like there's so much meat in here.
That's
that
part
I
of the
wanna
problem
pull
when
apart.
you add usually like when you add time travel into the mix in anything, it automatically starts adding these layers that you need to start like keeping track of. And and I'm already starting to feel that sort of like that buildup of like I need to start tracking of all these things. Yeah, and it's
especially because we're going to be dealing with fractured timelines and stuff. We have heard a bit about this. So in Endgame, Hulk had that conversation with Tilda Swinton, who explained this idea of the timeline,
diverging timelines,
and the diverging, you know, things branch off, and then we got a much more sort of comprehensive view of that with the Miss Minutes animation, which, you know, like you said, it was a bit I Dream of Jeannie, like it was that mid-century kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the way they had these like like evil little Keystone Cop villain people as the variants, it was like Nazi propaganda to me. You know, it really was. It was like this very this is such a cheerful video, but it was like this very extremist thing that had happened.
Yeah.
That apparently, these obviously, this is a power so incredible that even Infinity Stones mean nothing.
That to me was like it. Also to Loki, that was the most powerful moment of this episode. Where he opens just like a desk drawer where people usually keep like tchotchkes and junk.
Yeah,
and it's
full of Infinity Stones and the Tesseract.
And he just realizes like, well, wait a minute, these things are.
This is a power that I haven't even dreamt of. And so, yes,
that
that's
makes you think
true.
about like Steve Rogers like having to go back and like replace Infinity Stones in specific places in the timeline because like, as you said, she was like, if you don't, like you're gonna create unlike. But at the same time, you come here and you see these Infinity Stones
and you're
in
like,
a drawer,
it's all
and
meaningless.
Like,
It's like, you know, one of those stoned moments when you realize your insignificance in the face of the universe.
Yeah,
it was like that stoned moment
right
for
down
Loki.
to Owen Wilson like implying that. Like, oh yeah, all that Avengers stuff that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Or like, oh yeah, that DB Cooper incident. Like,
well, again,
we were watching as that happened.
There's so much that they've given us that is now open to explore. Obviously, there's this story with this devil who may or may not be some version of Loki, or
that cloaked figure was not Loki.
That's not Loki. That's something else.
Yeah.
I agree. But there's this question of like free will versus destiny, predetermination. You know, do we have control of any of the choices we make? or is some greater power making the choice for us? Like, this is, you know, a very real world philosophical debate that goes on forever, that has been going on forever, but they clearly intend to explore those themes in some depth. I find it really interesting, just as a side note, that, you know, Tom Hiddleston is a serious dramatic actor, Shakespearean stage performer, and Owen Wilson is known primarily for playing like snarky characters. And I found really interesting, especially in the interrogation scene, that it's still like God of Mischief Loki he's trying to control the narrative, and he's being snarky, and Owen Wilson was like the straight man in that scene. So it's actually a chance for him to do some dramatic performing.
So I
know?
noticed at the end of that, in that end scene there, they showed that sort of like futuristic looking like weapon or whatever that was in the ground, and then that cloaked figure, and it was obviously right after they had mentioned that they were the variant that they were going to be after was Loki himself, implying that like Loki's going to be chasing himself. But
this seems like something else.
I think what they're setting up is Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because he's supposed to be like the ultimate time traveler
Okay.
in the Marvel universe. And he's like the ultimate like time villain.
Yeah, I think it's clear that cloaked figure, it doesn't make sense for that just to be Loki, so it would make sense that they're introducing
and he's supposed to be from like very far in the future too.
Okay.
Like is where he originates.
They said like third millennium.
Yeah, third millennium.
Or
So
something.
that's my bet is that what they're setting up there is Kang the Conqueror.
It would be a good time to bring that in. You know, we've heard they had this conversation about this multiverse, so obviously that's setting us up for Doctor Strange a bit as well.
Multiversal war. That's the first time we've heard that term. I like that.
And again, we can see that these folks, the timekeepers, the TVA, they are extremely, extremely powerful, but we do also, I think, still have to question them because of the zealotry.
Yeah.
You know? They're like, you're, especially like the Wunmi Mosaku character, she's very good at her job, but she is like a true believer. She's a zealot. She's like, kill on sight. All variants are bad.
It's funny you mentioned
know?
that because I actually felt as though like when Owen Wilson was interrogating Loki, that like even though Loki like knows nothing about what's going on, and Owen Wilson is like showing him like you said, almost like the Matrix, like the real world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I almost felt like what Loki was like throwing back at him, I was like, Loki's making a lot of sense too, like because he was accusing them of all that stuff you're just talking
It
about.
actually,
like, you guys are zealots. You guys are. This is crazy.
It
this
took
is
me back
absurd.
to that conversation in Falcon and the Winter Soldier between Zemo and Sam about like extremism, and we've talked about that conversation a lot because like Zemo is ideologically rigid, right? And when he gave Loki that whole speech about your purpose on this earth is to hurt and destroy, that was harsh, and I was like, he's telling him he's an unredeemable character. He's telling him there's no good in him, and you know his only purpose on this earth is to hurt others, and that's harsh.
And all the while, like forcing him to watch all of the
to watch
bad
his
shit that
mother
he's done.
die, and look at his own worst greatest hits. And the thing about that is that Loki finally saw his own death at the hands of Thanos, but Owen Wilson selectively did not show him that.
That's true, yeah.
He said, "You're bad. Your only purpose is to do bad." And I was like, "Yeah, but he did the right thing in the end, in real life, or not in real life. This is all real. You know, in the primary timeline, he did finally come around and work with Thor and sacrifice himself."
Yeah.
And although he's now seen all of that, he went through like a whole emotional process really fast, but he hasn't actually lived that character development yet, so he's still gonna have to...
That's funny because we've seen that exact scenario before in Gamora, in her seeing or like realizing that the other version of herself, she was like, she couldn't see how like she could fall in love with Quill. She was like, this guy or whatever, and so it's like seeing the other version of yourself, like seeing
like,
him,
how could I possibly
Loki watching himself talking to Thor, being like, and having it be just multiple versions of each.
So he just saw like this really emotional movie, but he hasn't actually gone through that process yet, and so he is still sort of emotionally immature, or he you know, it's a lot going on for him, but he's going to have to learn to be good anew in this world.
The other thing that was like cranked to a 10 here was the 60s styling of everything, and that it was funny. I remember in the trailer I was honestly like, well, this is like automatically giving me Men in Black vibes because it's this like secret like it's not like a government thing, but it's like a secret society thing because in Men in Black it also has that kind of like 60s vibe to it, a lot of it, where
it's funny you mentioned the Jetsons,
because that's when they first
that
show
sort of
up,
like city, the beautiful sort of city or compound outside. You said Jetsons, and it's funny because it's like a past tense version of what people thought the future would look like, but But it's sort of like all times at
100%.
once exist. All
Yeah.
times and all ideas about time exist simultaneously at the TVA.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, for a designer, this is like a huge buffet of
Yeah, which is
treats
funny
for
because
a
not
designer
to like
work
bring
with.
this to Star Wars, but I've always felt that way about Star Wars too, where it's like, oh, the technology in the Star Wars universe is like what people in the 70s thought
the
future
future
is
would look
so
like.
now
Exactly.
we're looking at the 70s version of what
Mhm.
future, and but still it has a stylistic, appeal to it that
Absolutely.
it's kind of timeless in a way, in that
Yeah.
way, and that this is, even
It's
though it
no
has 60s
time and all
styling,
time
yeah, it's
at the
all
same
yeah,
time.
it's very timeless.
Yes. And they've got all
Yeah.
these little time puns, like the Minutemen, which means
Yeah.
the militia.
And that cartoon, I specifically wrote down the cartoon because that was exactly like the little advertisement in WandaVision where
Mhm.
it was the 60s style. And that's what you were talking about, like Miss Minutes or whatever. It's like, oh, well, this is like a millennia
Yeah.
old society
And
or whatever.
did you notice,
who
though,
made that cartoon?
But
Like,
once
it's
again, back to
propaganda.
my 1984 Nazi propaganda thing, they have these posters, these inspirational posters that say all variants must be eliminated or keep on time. They have all these little cute Miss Minutes posters and inspirational quotes, but they're actually very sinister.
Which makes me kind of come back to the whole if they are teasing Kang the Conqueror there, who's a villain, is one of the things that he's gonna be kind of are they gonna be his enemy in that regard, where he
Mhm.
thinks that the timekeepers are BS just the way Loki thought they were, and
Right.
that these people can't have this much control over eternity.
Exactly.
So he could be another one of those villains where they're letting us understand him in that regard. We're
Right.
sure, even
Well,
Thanos
again,
was like that.
These bring
where
up
it's-
questions of, again,
he's a psychopath, but he's also got some.
this goes back to the free
makes
will
sense with what
destiny
he's
thing, but
thinking.
if indeed it's supposed to be this way, or if indeed there is a destiny, then maybe it's Loki's destiny to help the TVA understand a different perspective.
Yeah.
It seems like, Owen Wilson, he's like that Agent Gibbs figure. He's the renegade.
Uh-huh.
When Misaku comes in, the hunter, and she says, he's a variant, and they have that argument, and he's like, I see something in him. I see
Yeah.
something in the kid. He actually, despite the way he treated Loki during the interrogation, he does seem to think he's redeemable and wants to mentor him and fight
But also
for
at
him.
the same time, this is making me think at the end of the show, are the TVA gonna be destroyed? Are they gonna come to an understanding that the timeline doesn't need to be a certain way, or is Loki gonna have to come to terms with the fact that he does die in the real timeline, the one that is supposed to happen, and that he's gonna have to come to terms with he can't be in this version of himself forever. He's going to have to go back and accept the fact that he dies and that he doesn't become
he said,
king.
I
and that he
can't
doesn't,
go back. I think what's interesting is that
him accepting his
Tom
own death is going to be
Hiddleston
part of
has
his
spoken
storyline,
about his character arc and had said that when Loki died in Infinity War, for him, that was the end of his character arc as far as he, the performer, was concerned. And so I think what's really interesting is that this is just a chance to explore, some new sides of this character, but for him to become this character out of time. He can become this Doctor Who figure who travels around and fixes things in other timelines. And once we solve this, devil problem, it can potentially be an episodic weekly procedural cop show.
It's funny because we had
you know?
originally thought that Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to be
a
buddy
procedural cop show.
Yeah,
yes.
and it didn't end up really necessarily.
No, that was
this is
much
already
that
kind
had
of-
so much bigger impact.
This is already shaping up for them
This
to be
is the
kind
buddy
of
cop show, except
Owen
that
Wilson,
it's like a funny time travel
Starsky and
show.
Hutch, but Marvel style.
It does. I think it opens up a lot of design and character development opportunities. We're gonna see presumably at least one, if not more than one, time period every week moving forward. We're gonna get to
we were
see-
getting we were in 15th century.
we
or
were
whatever that
in
was.
Renaissance
France,
Europe,
right?
Renaissance France, and then we were in the Wild West very briefly.
Yeah.
Even though all we saw was a field, I mean that's just sort of a teaser of I think what we can expect. So that's gonna be cool costumes, cool set design.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited.
Big cast of characters, and it's gonna give us a chance to see Loki playing different. Like Tom Hiddleston playing Loki, playing different historical figures.
Yeah.
Layers.
Yeah.
Layers. It's really cool.
And I had pointed out in that plane scene where he was being DB Cooper, he specifically was like, "I'll see you again" to the
Yes,
because he was
I'll
hitting
see
on
you
that
again.
the flight attendant. So I was like, maybe that means they'll be going back to that moment.
Very
at some
possibly.
point in
I
the show.
love that they did that, though. I mean, again, that's just a hint of sort of the historical and pop cultural
Yeah.
Easter eggs that we're
Yeah.
going to get the DB Cooper.
Owen Wilson ended up specifying DB Cooper, but I was like, I'm impressed. You were like, you picked up on it
She
right
said
away.
Mr.
Like, he's
Cooper.
DB Cooper, yeah.
It was like early 70s, I think this happened, and he had that like Mad Men sort of vibe to the outfit and the you know, the plane. And she said Mr. Cooper. It's an amazing opportunity that they availed themselves of because it's unsolved. No one knows who he was. They have found some of the money, but they've never found a body. And everybody who's looked at it is like, how could someone have survived a jump over that terrain at that speed? So like, it's a complete.
Yeah, I love that you had also
mystery.
mentioned the like, it's almost like a Forrest Gump, like he's going to be doing all these,
popping up at historical moments.
I like that. Yeah. Anyway, dude, this is really exciting. This episode was great, and I'm super excited. We were already excited, but this really just set it off, and I can't
wait.
I'm pumped, dude. The hype is real. Remind me, what was Owen Wilson's character's name?
Mobius M.
Mobius.
Mobius M. Mobius. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have introduced.
You know what? That's funny because MMM Roman numerals is 3000, which is the third millennium.
I think you're overthinking this. Let's
Am
not
I?
Evan Peters any of this. They have introduced this mystery with the hooded figure and the devil and all of this, but honestly, what I'm most excited for is Loki's continued character development. Is like this new version of Loki's character arc. That's kind of what's got me psyched moving forward. And the design, the like audio visual feast that we're in for.
All right, guys. I don't know if we're gonna be able to. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to have a once I get this up online, we'll be able to have a live conversation. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what we can do in terms of scheduling.
We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, but if you guys haven't already checked out the Jedi Jive Discord, there's a link in the description, and also there's Patreon, patreon.com/Jedi Jive if you want to support the Jedi Jive channel. Jenny, thanks for being here. I'm glad you're back. We're stoked to have you. Everybody in the chat is always mentioning Jenny and how they're excited.
I missed you guys. I'm really glad to be back.
Hey guys, let us know what you thought about this. Give us some comments in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.